And we're back now with today's checklist. And fall is very much in full swing now. And while the changing foliage may make for some beautiful scenery, the shift also means the start of seasonal allergies. So here to help us through it, NBC News medical contributor, Dr. John Torres.
Good morning.
Hey, Dr. John, welcome back. First of all, how are fall allergies different from spring allergies?
So traditionally, when you think of allergy season, you think of trees, grass, weeds. Trees in the spring, grass in the summer, and then weeds in the fall. But what has happened is because of climate change, these things have started to mix together. So if you typically had spring allergies, you might now have fall allergies. And so, again, think about it. But traditionally, weeds in the fall, and that means a couple things. Ragweed. This is rampant this time of the year, and that's the thing that people typically say, I have ragweed allergies, I'm sniffing, I'm sneezing, I'm runny nose, that kind of thing. Mold as well, because those wet leaves fall and mold can start building up. And then dust mites. We move inside. Dust mites are inside. Once we're in there, we start disturbing the dust mites. So guess what? They disturb us right back.
Okay, so what do we do, Dr. John, to try to, prevent this on a daily basis? What do we do?
So, and that's the big thing. That's the big key is prevention is major here. So you want to try and prevent as much as possible. So first and foremost, check pollen counts because it's going to vary from day to day. There's a lot of sites online you can go to and check in your specific zip code. If the pollen counts are high, well, be ready for it and make sure that you understand that if you go outside, you could be affected by some of these. Keep the windows closed, especially overnight. 4 to 8 a.m. seems to be that sweet spot for pollen. It really likes to build up that time of the day. And don't go running early in the morning, especially if you have ragweed allergies, because you're going to get that into your system. It's going to cause issues. Change your clothes often because your clothes accumulate the pollen. And as soon as you go inside, you start shaking your clothes around. The pollen's going to be shaking around too. And then the other thing, shower before you go to bed, or at least rinse your hair. I tell people all the time, your hair is a pollen sponge. You're going to get pollen in your hair. You're going to lay down on the pillow. You're going to turn over. You're going to get a nose full of pollen. And guess what? You can wake up congested.
Pets too.
Same thing with pets. You want to try and rinse them as much as possible. It's kind of hard to wash a pet every day.
Well, you don't have this problem.
Exactly.
That's why you didn't have what?
Yeah,
Is that why you're looking at it like that?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a pollen situation?
Can't get much by you.
Let me ask my question, Dr. Torres. So if you've tried all of these tips, what medications do you recommend?
So what I would start with is the saline rinses, saline eye drops, because those can really help flush the pollen out. And so, just using those throughout the season is important. Just keep those handy. But on top of that, the intranasal steroid sprays have really been a game changer for a lot of people.
Can you do a combination of them? I've always
definitely.
You
don't want to do them.
They won't counteract.
You don't want to do them at the same time because
mean?
when you do the nasal spray, the steroid spray, you want to give it time to work. And if you do saline right away, you'll rinse it out. And so you can do them. The saline should be throughout the day. The nasal spray is usually once or twice a day, depending on the spray. But you want, with a steroid spray, you want to start ahead of time because once you start getting behind the 8 ball, it's hard to catch up in that case. And then there's nasal and oral antihistamines that can work as well. Those work to alleviate the symptoms once you start them. And then eye drops, because you start getting those itchy eyes from allergies, you want to use eye drops to try and take care of that.
I mean, is this the main gold standard, or do you ever need to go to a doctor?
So you might need to go to a doctor, particularly an allergist, but you can certainly start with your primary care physician. If the symptoms start to get worse, every year worse and worse, and you can't seem to get them under control, that's a big key. You might want to go see them. If your quality of life is suffering, if you're not being productive at work, especially if you're having sleep issues, go see them as well, because there are things they can do to help you out. If the over-the-counter medications, if you get to that point where they're simply not working, or if you have asthma associated with this and have breathing problems, then definitely go see your physician, because there are things they can do. And, we've all heard about the allergy shots. Those can certainly work. Take a while, but they can work.
I mean, to that end, we're getting close to respiratory virus season as well. How do you know the difference between bad allergies and something more serious?
And that's the big question I always get. How do you know if it's allergies, cold, flu, COVID, RSV? Some symptoms here. If you're having a runny nose, itchy nose, sneezing, congestion, more than likely it's allergies. If you've suffered from allergies, you know what your symptoms are. And so if it feels like an allergy, it probably is. On the other hand, if you have some of these symptoms, especially the fevers, especially the loss of taste or smell, those types of symptoms, then more than likely it's one of those other ones. People, I always get asked, how can I tell the difference between flu, RSV, cold, these different COVID, these different kinds of things? Even as a doctor, I often can't tell. That's why we have tests. And so go get tested, and it can certainly tell you.
Dr. John, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC, or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.